This is the Charge 6. After 4 years, JBL fans can finally get their hands on the latest version of one of the brand's most popular Bluetooth speakers. But what exactly is new with the Charge 6? Does it sound way better than the Charge 5? If you're thinking that this thing right here might be your next Bluetooth speaker, you're in the right place. This is the JBL Charge 6 video. Let's do it! First off, the new Charge 6 comes with a detachable handle, which you can use in two different ways, as a regular old carrying handle, or as more of a loop attachment. Now, as a longtime Charge 5 owner, I never personally thought it needed a handle. It's pretty easy to manage with one hand, but I do see how it has its advantages. Placement options when you're out and about, or maybe your hands are full while you're carrying a load of stuff out to the car. I do wish these pieces here were color matched though. If you're not using the handle, they look a little exposed, even if they are recessed. The Charge 6 is also looking a little more bulbous than its predecessor, thanks to a subtle redesign at the bottom of its enclosure. In this case, it's a good thing. JBL has done away with the 10 thin silicone strips on the bottom here, which some listeners had issues with peeling off over time, in favor of this wider, flatter base here for better stability. Yep, see, told you. Taking a look at the sides of the unit, JBL has beefed up the rubber bumpers that protect its passive radiators. Now, unlike the Charge 5, which only has 3 of these little rubber nubs, the Charge 6 has 4, and they're slightly longer and slightly thicker as well. Now, this isn't just for looks. JBL has upgraded the Charge 6's durability to be certifiably drop-proof from the height of 1 meter, even onto concrete. Now, I'm not ready to ruin the pristine white finish of this Charge 6 just yet, and I can honestly say I've dropped my Charge 5 a handful of times without any issues, but hey, I'm not one to complain about a durability upgrade. Lastly, on the topic of protection, the Charge 6 is now IP68 rated compared to the Charge 5, which is IP67. Both are dustproof, but the difference lies in water resistance. An IP67 rated device can be submerged in up to 1 meter of water for 30 minutes, but an IP68 can go down to 1.5 meters for the same duration. Now, on the top of the device, you'll find a new control layout. You still get your raised playback controls in typical JBL fashion, but you may notice that the PartyBoost button is gone and has been replaced with an Auracast button. This new Auracast button sits alongside the power and Bluetooth buttons on their own backlit dedicated control strip. I was anticipating this because we saw the exact same change with the Extreme 4, the Clip 5, and the Go 4 last year. So the Charge 6 can easily pair to any of those devices via Auracast. Party box stage 320 included. Ow! Unfortunately, this means no backward compatibility with older JBL speakers that still use PartyBoost. So you can't pair a Charge 6 with a Charge 5. Now, just like how it was with PartyBoost, if you link up with other Auracast-supported JBL speakers, it still results in mono playback. If you want to listen in stereo, you need to pair an identical model. The portable app is pretty handy to have on your phone because it offers something new when connected to the Charge 6 over the Charge 5. While it allows you to view any Auracast-linked speakers, this is also where you can stereo group another Charge 6 for stereo playback, but the real standout feature is a certain EQ option. You are provided with new 4 presets to choose from, but my personal favorite is the new 7-band customizable EQ. This is a pretty decent upgrade over the 3-band EQ that's available with the Charge 5. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I love bitching about EQ options, so I was pretty stoked to discover a 7-band customizable EQ. It means you can really personalize the sound of the Charge 6. Now, you'll also need that app for the new Playtime Boost feature if your battery is low, but I did discover that this setting comes with a bit of a trade-off, so we'll talk about that in the battery section. Stay tuned. Moving on to connection options, as I expected, the JBL Charge 6 connects wirelessly to your device via the latest and greatest Bluetooth 5.4. Now, for all you audio nerds who love to complain about a lack of higher bitrate listening options, you'll be happy to hear that the JBL Charge 6 now supports lossless audio. The catch? Well, it's only over a wired USB-C connection. And of course, you'll need to be using a service that offers lossless audio like Tidal or Apple Music. Just hold down the play button while you insert your USB-C cable. You'll hear a little chime and bada bing bada boom, you're listening to lossless audio through a tiny portable mono Bluetooth speaker, and you can act like you can tell a difference. Sorry, that was kind of mean. You go ahead and you enjoy that lossless audio. Hey, you've earned it. Of course, we can't forget how the Charge series got its name. I'm happy to report that the USB-A courtesy outlet is long gone and has been replaced with a dual in and out USB-C port, so you can still charge your devices in the field. This will bring us to our next section, battery life, and I've got some good news there. The Charge 5 is rated for 20 hours of playback off a single charge, but the Charge 6 is rated for 24. under normal operation. That's literally a full day of partying. And Playtime Boost is supposed to get you an extra 4 hours, bringing the total operation time to 28 hours of use. That's a hell of a party. Yeah. So here's the deal with that 4 extra hours of battery life from Playtime Boost. Playtime Boost is essentially an EQ setting. An EQ setting that cuts out a good chunk of your bass response, leaving you with mostly mids and treble. Kind of like a podcast EQ, which is fine if you're listening to podcasts, but you bass heads, you're gonna hate it. If you are worried about your battery dying, I recommend just carrying around a portable power bank instead of relying on that Playtime Boost feature. Of course, like any speaker, battery life is highly dependent on how loud you've got your tunes cranked and if you bumped up any of those low-end frequencies in the EQ section. Essentially, the harder your speaker has to work, the faster you're gonna drain your battery. Fortunately, they've implemented a quick charge feature. 10 minutes of charging time will get you an additional 150 minutes of playback. All right, let's talk about sound quality. First up, there has been a change in hardware. It's still a mono speaker with dual passive radiators and a 20mm tweeter, say that 5 times fast, but they have managed to jam in a slightly larger, upgraded woofer. And by slightly larger, I mean mere millimeters bigger than what's found in the Charge 5. According to the specs, the Charge 6 also now offers a total of 45 watts of output compared to the Charge 5's 40 watts. It also offers JBL's AI Sound Boost to
optimize the acoustic output level
and
push the driver to its maximum capacity.
Okay, yeesh. All we want to know is, does the Charge 6 sound better than the Charge 5? After all, it has been 4 years. Well, here's what I've discovered. Comparing the Charge 6 directly to the Charge 5, straight out of the box, the Charge 6 absolutely provides better low-end response, which I'm sure plenty of people are going to be happy to hear, but they've also scooped the mids a little bit. Metallica fans will know what I'm talking about here. A reduction in mid frequencies means that instruments like distorted guitars, snare drum, vocals tend to take a bit of a back seat in the mix compared to when listening with the Charge 5, where they're noticeably more prominent. When it comes to the highs, I find the Charge 6 a tad darker sounding than the Charge 5. Listening to some Steely Dan, a track like Home at Last, I don't quite hear the same presence from the piano keys or the stick attack on the hi-hats from the drummer when he's playing one of those sick triplet groove shuffles, for example. So what does this mean? Does the Charge 6 sound better than the Charge 5? Well, I have to say yes, but not because of its new stock tuning or the AI Sound Boost. It sounds better because you can make it sound better thanks to that new, more customizable EQ option. Of course, it's important to remember to have reasonable expectations when it comes to bass response with smaller speakers, but even cranking up that 125 Hz slider and the new EQ proves that the Charge 6 has even more bass to give, way beyond what the Charge 5 and that generic bass EQ slider can do. Plus, you can easily bump up the mid-range in the EQ to bring out some more of the guitars in your mix, and while you're in there, bump up the treble sliders to restore some of that cymbal clarity at the same time. Honestly, it didn't take too much time at all to tweak those settings and get the Charge 6 a little more like how I wanted it to sound. And I also find it does a pretty decent job at maintaining its low-end response even at higher volumes. That being said, once you do start really cranking it up, plus past 75% on your phone, you do start to get that harsh mid-range and extra treble frequencies. It's not super great, but that's kind of how it is with all Bluetooth speakers. So maybe that extra low-end punch is coming from JBL's AI Sound Boost. But the good news is that if you're not happy with how the Charge 6 sounds right out of the box, you can easily change it. So should you buy the new Charge 6 for $199 with its cool new handle, better bass response, better battery life, and of course,
AI Sound Boost?
Ooh. Well, it really depends on your situation. As a longtime Charge 5 user, I'm certainly not rushing out to buy one anytime soon. While I am a fan of all of its upgrades, especially that new EQ, it's nothing I can't currently live without. But it is great to see JBL making some solid upgrades to the Charge 6. When you're limited by physics, there's really only so much you can do with a speaker of this size. As I like to remind people, these little speakers are not meant for critical listening. They're meant to enhance the campfire vibes or that Sunday afternoon hang with your pals in the park. That said, if you are in the market for a new Bluetooth speaker and its $199 price point fits your budget, I think you'll enjoy its enhanced bass response, more customizable sound, and its premium build. With its increased durability, you'll have a sonic adventure companion that can handle the bumps and bruises of travel for years to come. A worthy investment, if you ask me. Of course, if I were to lose my Charge 5 at the bottom of the lake on my next camping trip, I would absolutely upgrade to the Charge 6, especially since all the new ones are using Auracast and they're not backward compatible with older JBL speakers. It just makes sense to future-proof yourself a little bit when the timing is right. And what can I say? I like my kick drums extra punchy. Oh, and by the way, in case you missed it, JBL also dropped the Flip 7 today. So if you're thinking the Charge 6 is maybe a little too big for your needs, go check out that video right here.